Oh, hello. Welcome to the 57th PlanetDestiny podcast.
Oh my gosh.
57? I put 55 in the title.
It's not 55. It is not the 55th.
You put 55?
You told me 55.
I did not.
Oh my God.
I told
Patrick,
you 55.
You are absolutely
maybe
ridiculous with this number thing.
Pat is pulling a Pope Bear.
I said
with the
I
wrong
think
number.
it's 55.
Did you pass grade school? I mean, there's a number sequence that happens.
You went and got omelet. That's what you got. You had omelet on the brain. That is why you did not give me the correct number.
Hello, welcome to the 58th PlanetDestiny podcast.
You are tuning in to the real life of a podcast. This isn't the glamorous
Real life of a podcast.
the
Nice.
glamorous things that you guys think happens behind the scenes. This is the real deal.
This is reality podcasting.
Yeah, it's where we talk about such current events as what's not happening in Destiny.
There is a This Week in Bungie we could talk about. There's skill-based matchmaking we could talk about.
Yeah.
There's a certain upcoming podcast versus podcast match we could talk
That's
about.
coming.
No,
Yep.
that's not.
There's all
I wouldn't,
sorts
I
of
wouldn't,
stuff
I
to
wouldn't
talk
really
about this
call
week.
that news. I would say that's pretty much a predetermined.
We should explain what this podcast throwdown is real quick.
Okay.
Well, the Crucible Radio podcast guys, they're pretty good. They have a podcast all about the Crucible and PvP. And about 2 weeks ago, Pope Bear was like, "Hey, I challenge you guys. We're gonna kick your ass in a 3v3 sweaty."
I think the quote was, "You guys suck, and I'm going to prove it."
Yeah, there we go. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. He's not here to defend himself right now, anyway. So basically, Pope challenged them, and then for 2 weeks, he has been just going off on Twitter about how we're gonna kick their ass
right.
hard.
That's right.
And then the Crucible Radio guys are like, "Okay, let's practice." And so they've been practicing. You know
That's
what
right.
we've
That's
been
a
doing,
novel
Pope?
thought.
You know what we've been doing, Pope?
What have we been doing?
Not practicing at all.
I've been seeing Pope on my friends list rating, not practicing with me. Thanks a lot, Shade Bear, Shade Step Bear.
I have so much confidence in our ability to
Perform
to
under
just-
pressure.
Just absolutely dominate this thing that I don't think we needed practice.
Oh my god.
We've
great.
practiced enough. We're perfect.
You know what? To be honest with you, I don't even know the rule set. So
Right now, you know what I'm hearing from you guys is a bunch of "I can't."
no,
I want to
we
hear "I
can't.
can."
About 5 minutes before the game, I'm gonna throw on my Titan and I'm gonna move some stuff around.
You gonna move
Just
some
gonna
stuff
wing it.
around? Nice.
There is a podcast's honor at stake, and you guys need to defend it
Oh,
while I
it's gonna be
sleep.
good.
I want to wake up tomorrow to good news.
The good news.
There'll be good news. The good news is that the winning team, okay, I should say what's at stake here is the losing team needs to go on the winning team's podcast and they will be as guests and they are required to expand upon a series of statements about how good the other podcast team is at PvP
I
and
agree
better
to none
than
of this.
Has
That's-
anybody
I
heard
didn't
this
agree to any
before?
of this.
This is written in canon. This is part of the rules. So you can send a representative, and in this case, the PlanetDestiny podcast, it would be me since I'm the big mouth in this.
Oh,
But
I thought you were gonna say me.
no, it's either But obviously, I mean, if we don't win, it's because Patrick didn't bring his A game. But so we're really gonna.
You know what?
Man,
Fuck
so
it. I'm
much
using
shade.
No Land Beyond Sidearm for the entire tournament, just to make sure we lose.
I thought that was banned.
Sidearm is banned, so I'll use No Land Beyond.
But we talked
sniper.
about that being okay as long as we don't use it for the ammo glitch, right?
For ammo glitching?
If you could use
Pope,
a
I
sidearm.
thought you said you didn't know the rules.
You know what? So
lied.
maybe I'm understating
Playing
how
pretty
much.
fast and loose here. It sounds
Yeah, there's a whole lot of hearsay coming out of Pope's mouth.
So no, I have been practicing a little bit. I have been getting some help from some of my buddies in
You've been
Thorn.
practicing?
Been learning how to use Thorn.
just a little bit.
Shoot people 3
So
times.
anyway,
I'm not using Thorn.
I am not going to use Thorn. However, there is a side bet with birds if I kill him once during this with Thorn, he will have to start singing "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" at as loud as possible, and talk over any call outs for the entirety of the song while during the match. That's a side bet that Birds and I have. I really dislike Thorn that much. So, but
Pope, I want to just let you know. I just want to let you know that yes, Thorn is broken, but it's actually not as easy to just immediately pick up because of the recoil and the way it reacts.
Use
I
perfect
just
balance.
want you
You're
to
good.
know.
Use perfect balance. You're good.
I'm not worried.
I want you to
guys.
know that.
I'm not worried. I never have been.
It's Thorn.
It's Thorn.
It's a 3-shot.
Wait. Is it hard to use the Gallahorn? It sure is. You got to press the trigger, and it goes.
It respawns differently. It respawns differently from year one. I just want you to know that. From somebody who picked it up and was like, oh, this is a different feeling Thorn. It's still godly to be able to have a 3-shot to the body, but still, I just want you to know that.
Pope, I was using it today. It's super easy.
It's like this. It's like kink, kink, kink. The recoil pattern when it's coming back down, you can fire it and hit your target when it's still up in the air like this graphically. You don't even have to wait for it to like line up its sight. You just go pink, 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 and it's still the recoil is up
I
here.
didn't realize it had auto aim. See, that was my problem.
It is
I was aiming with it.
stupid auto aim. You don't need to actually aim. You don't have to wait for the graphic or the animation.
Can we
to
get
come back
off
down.
the Thorn hate train?
Fine.
So we do have some stuff to talk about in this week's podcast, other than other podcasts and fighting with them. There was a weekly update today. You guys want to talk about the weekly update?
Let's do it.
Please run me through it because I read it like on my phone and I didn't get a chance to sit down and really get into the meat of it.
So I think the big thing was they showed off their new Twitch studio. Bungie's been on Twitch before. Normally, they get big on Twitch right before they're about to announce some big content, which I find this to be interesting because they are saying that all this is going to really start up in March, and there's predictions out there that we'll see new content in April. So that would kind of coincide with that, I think. They showed some pretty cool pictures off of their new studio. They got green screens, desks, multiple monitors for gaming on. They showed a few of the people involved, and they also said that they're going to have at least a weekly event planned. It may not be like a big reveal. It may not be a Dreadnought walkthrough. Maybe it'll just be Cosmo bringing people through the raid, but they're planning on doing something at least weekly on their Twitch page, which I got to say I'm pretty excited about because I like when they get people who are involved in making that game, or even people who are just kind of on the edges of it, like in any respect, when you get more context out of the planning and the areas in the game, I really like it. So I'm excited for this. Hopefully they'll do some cool stuff in there.
When they were talking about it in the weekly update, it made it sound like they might take the podcast that they do, right? That they used to do. They used to do
Yeah. Luke Smith used to do the podcast, right?
Yeah, that was
right.
a long time.
A long time ago. Right. And so they're going to do an element of that, but it's going to be Twitch style. And it's going to be, I'm guessing, that it's probably going to be something like that, where they're going to be interviewing people from the studio. So Deej is going to go out and he's going to find people in the studio to come over and sit down and kind of like have a coffee talk, I'm
also excited for the fact that it is foreshadowing the coming months of stuff that's going to be talked about and get released. Because when they were doing those Twitch releases and talking about the content and bringing people on, that was really cool. I just assumed that they had a space for that always. I didn't realize that they had to actually move their whole situation around to put it together. And remember when they had Triple Wreck and showed off Trials of Osiris for the first time?
In the theater.
That was so cool. That was so cool. I wanted to see more of that. So it clues me more into why they haven't done that, because it's actually a pain in the ass for them to set that up. So hopefully we do see some great content that comes out.
Also, it's live, so the opportunity for some information to slip is going to be, moment to moment here. We're talking raw footage that YouTubers are just going to go crazy for.
Yes. Or inaccurate information. Remember when they were doing Crota's End? They had, I think, the designer of the Crota's End raid in there. And then one of the guys said that, yes, there was another chest in the Vault of Glass. But, it sounded like he said there was another chest in the Vault of Glass, but it was actually an answer to a different question. And then everybody exploded. Yeah, you were in that, right? Yeah.
and it was a ton of fun. But I remember Irk was in there, and we were just going to go take a pee break, right? And everybody was kind of like breaking up, and Irk did this joke. He's a very dry, has a very dry sarcasm, and then people on the internet took it seriously, and it was reported in like Kotaku, and all these people like started reporting about it.
It is interesting, the timing of it, right before April. We're expecting to see this next update. We don't even know what to call it, really. Do we call it DLC? Do we call it an update? Do we call it a PvE event?
Let's just call it an update, because...
Okay, update. And
content drop.
We're expecting it to drop. We know it's going to drop in spring. Spring is, a long set of months. If it came in April, they're ramping this thing up in March. Maybe they do a ride-along, get things started off slow, and then toward the end of March, they start releasing some new details on this update. That'd be super cool.
And that's fun. That's exciting. I like that stuff. It makes me
I do too.
Makes me get giddy. You know?
And then the other thing, looking at this, is we know about the CEO changeover, and since then we've seen a lot more communication out of Bungie, and now we're going to get even more. It feels almost like there's a change of culture happening at Bungie, and it's very exciting. Like from the outside looking in, I gotta say it's really exciting.
They're waking up from their winter hibernation now,
or maybe they just got the freedom to do what they thought they needed to do.
I don't know. I think a lot of this stuff is reaction. Well, I don't know. The matchmaking updates are definitely reactionary to the community. Because if we didn't say anything and we're like, whatever, I like getting the sweatiest matches ever every time I queue up in the Crucible. We didn't say anything, then they would not be adjusting those values and ratios right now.
We've never seen it like this. I mean, we're getting nearly daily updates on
Weekly,
changes
at
they're
least.
making to the Crucible.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast it's changing.
Well, and which makes you think that maybe, I don't know. I personally appreciate the information, and I think it's I think it's the right direction. It gives people what it does is it essentially crowdsources the process, and that was my contention the entire time. We're here, we're wanting this to be successful, just like you. Include us in the process, and let's start tweaking those levers and get this thing going. And it looks like they're doing it. They adjusted one playlist this week, right?
Yeah. Control.
They did Control.
And the
But
reaction
they did it multiple times this week,
right? And so the reaction to the community was, "Hey, getting closer. Oh, it's the closest lag-free, fun experience that I think that people have had in a while." I mean, have you guys had a chance to play Control?
In my opinion, it almost doesn't matter if you think that it's better or not. As long as they're working to get it better, gives you hope. And yes, I do think it's better.
Yeah. I played it a lot yesterday.
I played, yesterday I played it for about 4 hours before the reset hit, and everything felt good. Like the only games that were really bad, fortunately, every time there was someone that was red bar, they would also come into the stream and start talking to me a little bit, and I would figure out where they're from or why are they red bar. And turns out that those people just had really, really bad internet. And it's just luck of the draw that they got like matched up against us. But for the most part, everything felt good. My one biggest complaint though is that green bars there's a lot of times where people that have green bars, they don't feel like green bars. They're definitely yellow bars, but it's just showing as green bar. It's difficult to explain, but when you shoot someone and it takes like a quarter to half second for damage to pop up, and they're moving around kind of erratically, and then you get killed by him, and you're like, okay, that guy's gonna have like a yellow bar. Nope, it is full green, and that gets a little shifty when you see that multiple games in a row.
I was watching Tefty's stream yesterday, and you did an interesting test, Tefty, is you started off as a single player just going into Control, and then you brought in a group. And I actually did the same thing today just because I wanted to kind of feel how it felt as well. And I had the exact same experience I thought that you did. Is that single player, I felt it was marvelous. Like the connection's never been so good. Like shots were registering exactly when I thought they should have. People were dying exactly when they should have. Once I brought in a group, it started to feel more like that old school Iron Banner experience, but not as bad. people were still dying approximately when they were supposed to, with some exceptions.
How many people in your group?
I brought in, it was a group of 5, including myself.
Okay, yeah. So I did a test. I was on Xbox first. I did the solo queuing into Control, and largely definitely saw an improvement. There was a few times that one person got in there that maybe had a red bar, but it didn't didn't turn the whole lobby into a laggy feeling lobby where everybody had problems with connecting damage or anything like that. As soon as I brought in 3 more people, so it was a 4-person fire team, because I knew not to do 6 team. I was like, 6 team is probably going to be trash. I'm just going to stay away from it. Brought in 4 people total, including myself, and the connections definitely changed. There was times where the matches had really bad bullet registration, all that, and then there was times where some people were skipping around. There was times where I felt like I was a god at one point, where people were trying to hit me with the last word and they couldn't, and I was like, this is crazy. So that was very telling. And then I switched over to the PS4, and I think I just did a 3-man team, including myself. One person was from Australia, and
Oh God.
surprisingly, it didn't have a problem.
Huh.
He wasn't red bar. He was yellow bar, and he said he had 5 up in Australia, which I was like, oh, that's good, And the majority of those matches were not bad at all. Like, my shots were registering and connecting, and then towards the end, another 3-man team got in there, and their connection definitely affected the lobby. But it's a step in the right direction. Definitely a step in the right direction.
My only bad experience from that is constantly getting dropped into games that are already going on.
Yeah.
That's the solo player's dilemma, right?
Yeah, that's a solo player's limit. That got old quick. Also, it's just a side note, can you please remove Sky Shock from Control? Please. Just please.
In First Light. Let's
And
not have First Light.
Yeah.
Every single one of those big maps, it goes to time.
Yeah,
That's a very clear indicator that it doesn't work for that game mode. But
Sky
anyway.
Shock is the one First Light is the one that's on the moon, right?
Yeah.
That map is miserable. It's so big. There's so many people just like camping rocks with sniper rifles, just like waiting for somebody to walk by. It takes forever.
Yeah, it's
there's no
not
vehicles
an interesting
anymore.
map.
In the beta, there were vehicles in there, so you could at least speed up the gameplay with that.
And then I did the 3-man group going into Control, and it still felt good with 3 people. One was located in, I think, Virginia, the other in New York, and everything felt solid. We still got those like one or two random players. One of them that came into chat was from Arkansas, and he had like a 5 down, 0.4 up connection. So like there was just no way that he was going to be able to play without a red bar. There's absolutely no way. He was really cool in chat though. Props to you.
I'm surprised you could hear him.
But yeah, overall, massive improvement thus far. I don't think there's much you can do about joining games that are late or that are already going on as a solo player, though.
They've got to fill those games up, right?
Yeah, they have to. Well,
so
one of the things that I was trying to do the day before with getting Monte Carlo footage, like I ended up going in with like a larger team to try to fill this out, and 2 games in a row, we did really well against the enemy team in the first minute or 2, and everyone left except for one person. And then someone would join in, and then as that person is joining in, the last person would leave. And so then we're just running around the map for about 30, 40 seconds, unable to find anyone because they're loading in. And then finally that person loads in, sees the only person on his team, starts to leave, but someone else joined, and the map ended up going until there were 2 minutes left.
I never leave when I'm in that situation. I always stay and just run around like a madman trying not to get shot.
You like 1v6 me?
If anything, Bungie needs to implement something where it's like, okay, there's not enough people left on this team for a good match to happen. If no one is actually in the game within like 15 to 20 seconds, it's going to get called. Just mercy rule it in the game.
Are we all pretty positive on the changes so far? Like, is everybody liking what's happening in Control? Do you feel like we're having net positives here?
So of the people that played, 41% of the people that are voting in the poll said that they feel like the matchmaking in Control was better this week. 48% haven't had a chance to even play it yet. I find that the games were better. I played some Control. I found that they were better. There was that anomaly of the lagging player, but that's just going to happen with peer-to-peer connections. And for my experience in California, matchmaking for a few hours, I found that the majority of the games were fun and engaging. But one of the things that we don't get to see, and I wanted to bring up with you guys, is the new playlist, the solo playlist. Are you finding that it's matching you, like dropping you into games that are almost over? And
Wait, I think Patrick was talking about that.
you guys went over that. Okay.
You guys are talking about solo queuing into the Control playlist.
Right, and
not
I'm
the
talking
freelance
about the
playlist.
freelance playlist. Yeah, so I played a bit of the freelance playlist, and I'm thinking that needs to be adjusted, to be honest with you, because I'd say 2 out of 5 matches, it placed me in games that were already going, and I was losing, right? So that's not fun.
They need to do exactly what Call of Duty does, is say a thing that says loss stat prevention or whatever. Because I think some people would, I think some people have a problem with that, jumping into a losing game and then feeling like they're going to lose right away, and it goes on their stats.
There's also a massive disadvantage too. It's like people who have their supers up. There could be heavy ammo up as you just joined
huge,
in.
Yeah.
It's
huge disadvantage. But I think if people felt like it just didn't count towards their whatever their end game is, and they joined a game halfway through, and it just was essentially going to give you a drop for completing it, I think there might be a better, I don't know, it might have a better result for people.
It was pretty funny. I actually really enjoyed the 6v6 freelance playlist when I got to try it last week. Like that. If that playlist was around permanently, that's how I would get footage for weapons. For
seems
my
like
reviews.
they're at this point. It seems like they're flopping it 3v3 then 6v6.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to continue.
It felt good. The 6v6 felt good. 3v3 on the other hand, so I was getting footage from Monte Carlo, and I don't know if you guys saw that awesome display of that timeline of events, but basically went into the 3v3 solo. Or I went into a bunch of other playlists and like just got maps that didn't work for Monte Carlo, like First Light, Sky Shock, all the big maps or games that were already over, so couldn't get footage. And I was like, okay, we're gonna try out 3v3 freelance. Join in. I see Asteroid from 13 Devils, and then a bunch of other players that are all on his skill level, all wielding Thorn, Last Word, Party Crashers, Fellow Winners.
Have fun with that Monte Carlo.
And I was just sitting there going, what the fuck? So it actually was an extremely close game. I was doing a really cheesy thing with Monte Carlo where you use a Stormcaller and then you just you zap them and then hit a couple shots with Monte Carlo. And you get your charge back on your melee.
That's what I do with Knives Hunter too.
It's super super cheesy, and it works. But yeah, it was not a fun match to try to get Monte Carlo footage from. It was a great match, but I was just sitting there going, this isn't working too well against tier 1 players with tier 1 loadout.
I'll tell you, my experience with that 3v3 freelance has not been positive so far. I did enjoy the 6v6 last week, but the 3v3, it's like every match is super sweaty and the lag is insane. So it's like the matchmaking changes haven't entered that 3v3 freelance playlist. In my opinion, it's so hard in there. It's like in 6v6, that's a perfect place to get weapon footage.
It depends
right?
on the map.
If you're doing, a weapon review or you're just messing around, that's a perfect place. But that 3v3 playlist, the freelance it was like impossible. Like I just had to sweat all the time.
No, stop.
42% of the chat is showing that they also found that they were joining games almost over or, in the freelance playlist. So it seems like we're not alone in at least I'm not alone in my experience of that.
That's my experience playing as a single. When I play as a solo, I join a lot of matches that are halfway done, and that's because you need to fill those spots. It just is a fact of life. If you don't want to be that person, join a group, and you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I don't like that argument, Briar.
But you got to fill them up, Pope. I mean, I understand that you don't want to be the guy that fills that spot, but you also don't want to be the guy that is left on a 3-man team against 6 people.
Okay, so I think that there should be some. I agree with you, Briar, but I think there should be some mechanism that when the game is like, what would that point spread need to be for you not to be dropped into that game? Like, I don't want to come into a game that's 2,000 points down. Once a player drops and you're so far down, does it just end the game? Just ends it like that, and then doesn't bother putting somebody back in, no matter where they are, because the way that mercy rules work is that it's based off of amount of points from start of the game, right? So I'm saying that maybe those rules should be tweaked a little bit as to how mercy rule is applied when queuing in solo playlists.
I can see that. I wouldn't want to see him get too aggressive, because there are times that, and it's really gratifying when this happens, you get dropped into a game that's halfway finished, your team has a big, is way behind, and you come back, and it's like there's a 100-point difference in the last 10 seconds, and you pop your sweeper and get 3 kills to like win the game. That is super gratifying. It ends up on YouTube a lot. You know, I like those games.
Well, Aziz brings up a very, very, very good point. We need to ask ourselves in the first place, why are people leaving those games?
Because people don't have to lose. People rage quit all the time in every multiplayer game.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so you could say that, right? But if it's happening a lot, right?
It depends on the map.
You know what we need, Pope, is we need to tune the matchmaking so there's more skill based. That way you don't get crushed by these players who are so much better than you.
No, stop.
Briar, you better tell people you're kidding right now.
I'm definitely kidding.
Okay. Oh my God. Well, okay, so you're right. Now you see, I guess, when we're opening this dialogue with Bungie and this process of tweaking these settings, I feel like the salt goes down a little bit because people start realizing the conundrum that Bungie is in. Where is the balancing point? Where's that fine line? And it's not as easy as people think. Talking to Leif last week was eye-opening to me because he brought into the conversation some very good questions that I hadn't brought up, that it's much more dynamic than we give it credit for, that we think it's so easy, but it's just really not.
Well, okay, so the problem right now is that they didn't foresee this when they developed the platform, and then they put in the mercy rule. The mercy rule was a great start, but it's just like you're talking about, the mercy rule has to have various colors to it. Like, for instance, if there's a 10,000 point spread in a game, and it's like 18,000 to 8,000, don't fill those slots up. Don't add people into that game. Or so let's say it drops down to 2 people left on one team. Just mercy it right there. 18,008. That's the end of the game. You know? Like, it needs different variables to it. And I get what you're saying, Briar. It is fun to drop into a game and make an epic comeback. But at a certain point, it's like if you're a 6-man team running around for one person and it's 18,008, like, we should call that game.
I completely agree. There should be a mercy rule, and they should massage the rules for that so that it kicks off when it's applicable. Like because nobody likes to be in that spot, and you don't like taking that loss. You know, it's
and that's the other thing.
To take that loss.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like in Call of Duty, they have a loss stat prevention.
Yeah.
So if you do join in a game in progress, it doesn't count towards your stats. So people can feel less like, oh, it's going to go towards my a ratio of wins or whatever.
I would like to see people that are rage quitting get penalized for that.
Well, sometimes I think you have to look at the reason for someone rage quitting too. Remember a while back where they did the PvE thing with okay, these are the strikes that people are leaving a lot. Why are they leaving? Okay, let's make changes to those strikes. We need to look at that in PvP as well, with the maps. Which maps are people leaving right at the start or very close to the start of the game?
And that's what they're doing, that they're looking into that.
Yeah. And I can guarantee you I only want to play Skyshock once per day. I'd actually like to never play it, truthfully. But if I get put in it once, okay, I'll play ball. But if I get in there a second or third time, I'm not playing that game.
Would you
that goes to time?
Would you say that putting in a voting system would help on that?
To a degree, yeah. One of the major problems with voting systems is that the community will kind of latch on to a very select group of maps.
But okay, so here's my point. Like, by instituting a crowdsourcing type voting system like that, doesn't that in real time give Bungie information as to what they need to do to adjust those maps to make them fun and playable? I mean, wouldn't a discussion with the community as to why Cathedral is just a hated map by a lot of people and downvoted every time it comes up? My question is, by us crowdsourcing or voting through that process, doesn't that give them information to adjust spawns, to adjust why are people not wanting to play those maps? It's not just simply because they're bad maps. All they know is that they don't like it, right? So isn't it their job then to figure out what they don't like about it?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you for Cathedral of Dusk, it's a really long map.
It spawns you way back in like the back 40. It
spawns you really far back,
yeah.
and it always feels like you're working uphill. Like you never have the high ground on that map. It's a very difficult map to get proper positioning on due to that stuff. But a quicker fix would be, kind of, just cordon off, the back portions of the map, so you don't spawn so far back. On Rift, like Rift is a prime example of why Cathedral of Dusk is so bad, because you rarely ever actually cap the Rift on that map because you have to move so far back into the enemy spawn. It's really, really difficult to do that when the enemy keeps spawning so far back on there.
So the adjustments the adjustments are made to the maps, and an announcement goes out, from the PvP team. We adjust, we've seen that people are downvoting, Cathedral, so we've adjusted the spawns.
We cut it in half, made 2 maps.
Yeah. Took out the control points and put them closer together.
It's not really cut it in half. Cut it into thirds and then only use the center section, and then we're probably going to be good. That actually might work, and then just instead of having spawns on the ends, make it on like kind of the top and bottom sections. That might actually work. No, it'd
be a fun Rumble map.
Yeah, it'd be a very fun Rumble map.
I don't think the aesthetics of Cathedral, the layout, the stuff is fun for me. I like that map. I like the concept of the uphill on both sides, right? That it's a symmetrical map with more of. But think of that map with a game mode like King of the Hill. Think of it with different types of game modes. It's a good map. It's just the spawns are a little bit off, what I'm trying to.
It doesn't work for any of the current game modes, really.
Right. And what I'm trying to talk about is that can't Bungie continue this process of including the community in this crowdsourcing of them to improve the game? I mean,
absolutely.
This is a mechanism. Maybe there's some downsides to the voting system, but ultimately, I hope that they would institute these types of things to help us help them.
Sometimes they make voting systems that are a little more complex. Like a map can only be voted on once, and then after that, it's out of the rotation for like 2 or 3. And a map can only be voted down like 3 times in a row before it kind of becomes automatic. I think that kind of a system could work. So that way, a Cathedral of Dusk does like kind of get forced to be played every once in a while. So fans of that map are going to get a chance to play it. And you don't have a Nuketown and Black Ops 2 scenario where it's that map over and over and over again.
Right. I'm just saying that anytime that you're including us, that's my stance on this. Anytime you're including us in the process of giving feedback for this game, you're going to end up winning out in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree on that, Pope.
As a quick side note, has anyone noticed that it feels like the pool of maps has changed for Control playlist? Like, not only did they update the matchmaking, but they updated the map playlist, because the bigger maps are back in. That is absolutely confirmed. I've been playing Crossroads a bunch, which is one of the
popping up more.
It's kind of a larger map. It's weird, but
I don't mind that one as much because it's interesting looking.
It's interesting. It's one that really benefits from having communication, so I can tell my team, yo, just cap A and C, don't cap B on this map. Stop it. And one more thing, spawns. do spawns feel weird at all to you guys ever since the update? I say this because during that 4-hour testing stream, enemies were constantly spawning around me. Like say I have C point. It is controlled. It has been controlled for the entire game. We're not capping into the points. Nothing has changed. All of a sudden, enemies spawning around me. Everyone's in like normal positions.
So I think that they're adjusting the spawns, and they adjusted the playlist. Like there was something. I know you're right to that, because I was playing. What playlist were we playing the other day where we just kept getting spawn killed? It was it was Rift. No, but it was
Rift
Rift.
is known for that, though. Yeah, I mean, you're either in your zone or by the Rift when you spawn in there. You don't spawn in the enemy zone.
I mean, it's super fun to do. You bring an invective in there, and you just go to town.
Yeah, or you get heavy, and because machine gun ammo is ridiculous if you have the right machine gun. I mean, like it happened yesterday when I was on Xbox. I used my zombie apocalypse. I'm sorry, Pat. Used my zombie apocalypse and mowed down tons of people, and suddenly heavy ammo coming in, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I need more heavy ammo. Thanks. I need that refill."
Yeah. I use Quillem's Terminus.
That's
Quillem's is honestly better because I don't have to reload it. Cocoon is so good.
It's true. Yeah. I wish they would bring back. I think it's Bastion, isn't it, on Mars? For the control.
It's back. It's still back.
Is it in there?
Yeah,
I didn't.
It's in there because I've run into it 2 times.
Really,
Two
on
times.
control?
It's very low then. It's a very low rate then, because I haven't run into it at all.
It doesn't pop up often, but it does. Yeah. It does show up every now and then.
I miss that map.
I like that map too. I think they could do the same thing with Cathedral as they could do with that map. With that map you have your Sparrow that you can pull out, right? But I really feel like they can push the spawns to the action more. They can push us up further, and that's one of those maps. I understand you have your Sparrow, but that's one of those that they can make like Blind Watch. Why not? Is it Blind Watch, the moon map on the outside with snipers on the out right?
No.
Blind
Watch?
No, that's First Light is the moon
First
map.
Light.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So that's another map that I would love to see come back, because there's a lot of inside spaces. There's a lot.
It's in there.
But I'd like to push in the spawns. Is what I'm saying.
What I'm saying?
That's a fix. We can play those maps. Just push them further into the interior.
If they made kill boxes towards I think this is what you're talking about, like bringing the kill boxes closer, so there's not as much sniper camping towards the edges of the map. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't have a problem with a sniper that wants to post up out in the rocks and sit there, because the only reason why they're sitting out there is for me to spawn and walk across that open, vast space for them to snipe me. What if I'm not spawning out there? That's the solution. If I'm not spawning out there and I'm spawning in the interior on my teammates, think about it.
Yeah.
So if you're in a control zone, right? If you're capping a point, or you're in the proximity of a control zone, your teammates can't spawn on you, right? But if you're fighting in a gunfight, or if you're not in danger, you know how they have that mechanism where you're in a gunfight? It doesn't spawn you there, because that would be unfair. But if you're in the process of being in the game somewhere in the interior, spawn a teammate on you, right? That Battlefield mechanic of spawning is cool as hell, man. I love it.
Mm-hmm. One quick thing about Bastion, because it is a map that's available for play. I think I was testing Bad Juju footage, and we loaded in. I was like, oh, I'm going to leave. But then my fire team was like, we had a full 6-man, and I was like, no, we're just going to have fun. We're just going to have fun. So the entire enemy team except one person left 10 seconds in. So, we're killing him for a little bit, and then we decide, you know what? Let's only kill him with Sparrows. Let's only try to kill him with Sparrows. That dude got a breaker off meleeing us on our Sparrows.
Nice.
Yeah. So we worked him into a cave, and then we're all like trying to ram him with our Sparrows, but we're all so bunched up at the mouth of the cave that we're just knocking around each other. We lose momentum. We'll just kind of bump into him, but he doesn't kill him, and then he just sits there and stabs us, and we die. It was great. And then and then he ended up like getting something like a 2,000 point lead on us while we were trying to kill him on sparrows, and then his team filled out and then proceeded to be filled out with only sweaty people with thorns and stuff, and then it was a massacre after that because I was just like, I'm still only going to be on my sparrow because I can't take this map seriously right now.
That's the kind of story, Patrick, that makes me just want private matches and custom.
I was just thinking that, Briar. Just thinking that. You know
so
how
great.
much it would be to create a Mike Myers type game mode, and
They're
then
like a
so
Juggernaut?
it's 1v. Yeah, it's like Juggernaut, I guess. But the reality is that it's a fun type game mode where you can drop in and then it's like there's 1v5 and then you kill people and then you win the round, or they get points by killing you, and I don't know.
I love it.
Okay,
I want it.
here-
It'd be
here
so
it is.
fun.
Here it is. Mike Myers player. It's a six man thing. There's five good players, one Mike Myers. The Mike Myers player does not show up on radar and only has a sword. Has like a max armor buff, so he can take a little bit more damage. So he can hide around corners, ambush you with a sword. You can't respawn, and the point is to live long enough.
It scares the living crap out of you when you're running around a corner and he's like crouched there and he's like, yeah, jumps out and you're like, ah! It is literally the coolest game to play with your friends. Like when you're playing a sweaty match and you hear people complaining about lag and this, that, and the other thing. You're like, all right, it's Michael Myers. And then you just jump into a playlist and you go and you have fun, and it's just what this game's missing, man. It's like a 6-man activity that isn't sweaty, like a raid run or anything like that. Some sort of activity that you can do even in patrol spaces that allows you to.
I'm not gonna lie. Last week when we were talking to Leaf about it, and he seemed so resistant to the idea of private matches, it really, it was heartbreaking to me.
He was like, well, there's a whole bunch of problems. And I was like, no, there isn't.
No,
There's two
isn't.
people in this world, two kinds of people: the ones who make problems and the ones that solve them. Which one are you gonna be?
I'm like, all the problems that you think might happen, the community will gladly accept with private matches.
We should move on to the Iron Banner.
I think it's a related topic because I was really surprised that it's going to be Clash on February 23rd.
So was I.
Like, we're doing making all these changes to Control,
And suddenly we got Clash.
and it's going to be Clash. So they did kind of say at the end that they might even deploy new matchmaking settings that favor connection quality over skill. That could result in fiercer competition, but that threat should be of no concern for a true champion of the Iron Lords.
That might needs to be a will.
In the key word. So I mean, you're doing such good work on Control. Come on, use it for the Iron Banner.
Here's the thing: I don't think they ever truly applied the same matchmaking protocol to Iron Banner. I think Iron Banner has always been a different type of matchmaking, and that's why people have always felt that way about Iron Banner. How they go in there and they have problems with the connections. It's because it's trying to match you up with people on skill level versus connection, and it's just straight up a problem. They need to move away from that completely. We want connection based because it's more fun. So when I see Clash Iron Banner, I'm like, it depends on those connections if I'm actually going to play it all week.
Fortunately, we saw the rewards this time, and it's the first time the sniper rifle is being sold. So I will be playing to get that sniper.
It's a low impact though.
Yeah, this is not.
I don't care.
I am
100% aware of the stats, but from what I've heard from people that have been using it, it's still a really solid weapon. But my problem with the low impact snipers isn't that they don't res snipe. Well, that's part of the problem. The other is that the ones in Taken King, they all suck. They don't have high stability, so you can't make use of the higher rate of fire. So you can't, dome people. And this one is capable of getting a pretty high stability roll on it. So I would like to try that. I would like to try that out.
Sniper rifles are always fun. I kind of miss having a high power sniper rifle like that.
I miss Praetus. What's the
Praetus
Revenge?
Praetus Revenge. There we go.
Praetus Revenge
my first
was
time.
one of my favorite 6v6 snipers because it really didn't. The res snipe wasn't important, and really being able to be that sniper that support
It's
sniper.
the best scout rifle in the game.
Yeah, man, you could
Yeah.
you
Fired
could
super fast.
and with like no kick to it, and you
No.
could snipe out somebody that just had their shields barely off. It was
You
all
can double
need-
tap somebody
Yeah.
super fast.
Well, even
yeah,
then,
yeah.
like
Real
if
fast.
you followed your teammates, if you had some close quarters teammates that had like last word and were up front and maybe auto rifles just popping shields off, and you sat behind
Popping
them,
shields.
and you could clean up so many kills. It was the best support distance weapon, I thought, for people.
What's the map where B is out on like a peninsula, and there's
Shores of Time.
Yeah, Shores of Time, and you know that like if you're looking at B from out in the woods, and you can see across that patio into that little tunnel. You remember? I remember using Praetor's Revenge, and people were running across the tunnel,
Right.
And you could double tap them while they were on their way across.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's how fast that thing could fire and get a kill to the body. It was a ridiculous gun.
It was a really good gun. I also think the lower impact snipers should have more in the magazine. I think this one has 5, which that's
It shouldn't be. It should be higher.
It has 5, so I'm
You think
pretty
it should be
sure.
higher? Really?
I would argue that
I don't think it should
because
be
you
higher.
get that quick double tap body shot, that you should be penalized for that somewhat.
Yeah,
Well, also it's still a one-hit kill to the head.
Yeah.
to the head.
So if you had like 6 or 7 one-hit kills to the head,
But anyway, I'm really excited to try out that sniper. Hopefully the one that's on the vendor is a good roll because last time, as it was clearly showed by Hey Fitzy's data, drops aren't exactly consistent.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly, they've been good rolls, though, from the vendor, from Lord Saladin's rolls. So,
that's true.
I just think that they need to rain drops like manna from heaven.
yeah, man.
Just
Give me the good
make
stuff.
it not
I've
even.
been saying.
It doesn't even need to be good stuff. Like, give me everybody in the lobby should be getting at least a blue. Everybody, no matter what, blue engrams, blue. But make them riddled with that whole double bars. All the way down should be full, and some of them are purple, but most of them are blue. And just make it rain like that.
And put some weapons in there, for God's
God
sake.
damn, get some weapons
Please.
in there.
Not
Give
all
us some
armor all
weapon
the time.
parts.
Just that balance.
Make us rank up our
Oh my
Cryptarch,
God.
man. Do it.
My armor has to be so specific at this point for me to keep it. Like, the armor I have is already so good. I have multiple loadouts for every character, like, strength and discipline builds, intellect discipline builds. I got arc armor, void armor, solar armor. Like, my armor is it's set. I don't need any more
Well, there's
armor
new
until the
guys.
next
There's
DLC.
new people. There's new people that have started in Christmas that desperately need weapon parts and armor materials. And what better
You're
way?
getting the armor materials.
Well, I have a problem with the mechanism that they put into it of playing for legendary marks and then buying the materials from the vendors. That felt like it was a stopgap, right? Where you could buy this stuff from the weaponsmith. You could buy stuff that would make it.
Are you talking
possible.
specifically about weapon parts?
Yeah. So I saw
Yeah,
that. As,
I
I
agree
saw
with
that
you.
as a
That's-
stopgap. Right?
They need to drop more.
They just
Weapons need
needed to
drop
make it drop more so that the person that started this game isn't stuck. Because, like I said, I go back to what my son's experience is right now. He's got like a ton of stuff that's all ranked up, but he can't rank it up because he can't get enough parts. It's just he's materials poor. So what better way to get it than by playing the game, right?
2 blues. 2 blues is pretty good.
Just give us 2 blues at the
2
very
blues.
least. And every match we should be getting at least 2 blues and maybe a purple. Fill up that thing. Just fill it.
They want to kind of limit progression by having this kind of limited drops. And it makes sense from a game design perspective to keep people playing longer. But once you get towards the end of that game, that slow drop rate for everything gets unbelievably frustrating for new players coming in because they're on the same level as people that have been playing forever, and then it's still frustrating for people that have been playing because they still can't get the shit that they want.
Absolutely. It has to be adjusted because right now it is ridiculous. 10% of the legendaries I get are weapons. And they're usually not a special weapon.
I predict that this Iron Banner, we will get a lot of weapon drops, and they will all be shitty rocket launchers. Except for
need
Pope.
a rocket launcher.
Pope's magic RNG will
Pope
give
is
him
going
all
to
the
collect
snipers.
all of the
Pope,
sniper
Pope is
rifles.
gonna. Okay, I got this one with hidden hand, outlaw, brace frame. I got this one with. It actually came with 3 hidden hand rolls. I didn't know that was possible. Well, it has 3 hidden hand rolls. This one has 5 rangefinder rolls on it.
Yeah, right. This one's got 2 hidden hands. I don't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
It's got a perk called aimbot. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's Pope luck.
We're also getting helmets to drop and gauntlets. Yeah, so that's nice. I think gauntlets have only been around once for Iron Banner so far, right?
Yeah, it was like the very first one, I think.
So I got one set for one character, and I didn't get the rest of them. And they're actually got some decent perks on them, so it's nice to see these things come back. And then the PlayStation-specific stuff is gauntlets and helmets as well.
I don't mean to move the podcast on too quickly, but we do have a date in about an hour from now, so maybe we should move on to Twitter questions.
I
Wait,
like Twitter
hold up.
questions.
Let me bring up one thing because
Okay.
this was an idea because I was playing Call of Duty the other night with subs, and we were talking about prestiging in Call of Duty and how it's crazy to think that you can prestige 10 times and then you go into these master levels to get up to 1,000, and then you can also prestige weapons, and then if you prestige all your you unlock gold weapons, and then you unlock diamonds, and if you unlock all the diamonds you get dark matter
chaos.
skin.
Yeah, dark matter. That's a cool skin.
Dark matter looks amazing, and it's like crazy to think how much time that takes to put into to unlock all that stuff. But if that was available in Destiny, like if you could prestige your subclass, and if you prestige it like say 10 times and you got some sort of buff for it, like maybe it was an RNG buff. So if you prestige your subclass, every time it was like a 5% RNG buff towards that would add to your end game content for drops and all that. I think people would do that, honestly. And if you could actually unlock all the skins for your exotics, and then you unlock a special skin for doing that, that would give me a reason to want to go get these other exotics I never touch and use them in the Crucible.
There would have to be a benefit for me doing it, but I would do it if there was a big enough benefit. In Call of Duty, it's been years since I've prestiged. Because there was no benefit. You get an emblem, big deal. I didn't care.
Think about it, like you had to re-level up your gunslinger, and every time you like up to 10 times, and you got like some
It'd
sort of small
make that $25
percentage.
buff a lot more attractive.
$25. Activision caking in the money, but it just made me think like how cool would that be if like also if it was if it unlocked a special shader, class item, and emblem along with each prestige for that subclass. Like it's a big time commitment, but at the same time people love playing this game,
and it would give you more replayability. I mean, that's what Call of Duty, I feel like that's their biggest innovation, is they put a carrot on a stick that I don't think anybody's beat.
That's called World of Warcraft. You cannot beat that game. There's no beating World of Warcraft.
So can we timestamp the World of Warcraft reference, please?
We should definitely put a link to that
Yeah,
every week.
every week is the weekly World of
Timestamp
Warcraft
in the description
reference.
to the World of Warcraft. What reference of the
No,
week?
the only reason I did it is someone in chat said, "Hey, we haven't had one yet." Like, I'll work one in there.
You let Leif, beat you to the World of Warcraft reference last week.
Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm
you
not the
did.
one that had to do it.
I'm just saying.
It was
I'm a
so
little
casual
disappointed.
too. He also just brought it up real casually, and
Yeah,
none
he
of
did.
us were like, we kind of had like an internal dialogue going on
Chat
amongst
went
us.
crazy
Like
though.
We shared a look.
we were like, that just happened, and we
Yep.
oh well, okay, let's just
All right, I'm going to do some Twitter questions here. James Trinder, at James Trinder. What changes do you think we'll see with Mass Effect? I think he says MEA, and he's talking about Mass Effect, the newest Mass Effect story
Mass Effect
writer.
Andromeda.
Andromeda, thank you. Story writer working on Destiny 2. So if the news broke that Mass Effect Andromeda's story writer actually came over to Bungie. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on that? I mean, considering we haven't played Mass Effect Andromeda, it's hard to tell.
Well,
Right?
He worked on Halo 4. He
Oh, did
worked
he?
on
So
I
he's
can't
been
remember
with-
which Dragon Age. He has a good pedigree for doing good stories.
Halo 4, not my favorite.
Yeah, a lot of people
story
didn't like
from
Halo 4
the
story-wise.
series.
I don't think it's a bad thing for Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm pretty sure if he's leaving that writers writers constantly leave before like the product is actually out, because once it's written, it's like, okay, I'm done here.
Yeah.
Go,
Yeah.
find new job. There you go, done. So I think it's a good thing for Destiny. Get some more solid writers in there.
I just hope that there's a Bible somewhere that has like the story, like moving forward, so we get a comprehensive story that started with the Traveler and the Stranger and the Vex and all these guys that were in Vanilla Destiny, and we get some answers, and it's not like Lost and it just becomes complete bullshit in the end.
I agree.
Is that Mass Effect 3 right there?
Did we actually have a single
Lost,
reference?
the TV series. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Do we actually have a single reference towards the Stranger, Speaker, and
The Stranger? Yes.
in Taken King? Did we have
Yes.
a reference? Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty limited, but basically it's kind of more or less confirmed that the Stranger's been working with Rasputin.
Is it in the Grimoire or was it in the game?
I believe it's in the Grimoire.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
So deep. So you got to like pan for so much gold to get one little nugget.
Well, you asked. You weren't specific.
I really appreciate those guys who make those really awesome videos, like Sir Wallen and My Name is Bife. Like, and they go into the Grimoire and like really extract all the nuggets
It's
worth
interesting,
knowing.
yeah.
But it sure would be nice if that shit was in the game.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sid at Noah Yoder. What's your guys' opinions on Bungie giving out 320 ghosts? Better than 15 motes, right?
Definitely better than 15
I think it
modes.
was a good. I think it was a good response to what the problem was at the time.
And I appreciate everybody who gives us credit for making that happen, even though I don't know if it's really deserved.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the entire community voicing their opinion about it is the real reason that got changed.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
Definitely.
thanks.
No, we do appreciate you guys giving
Kudos.
us that. Yeah.
Slayer Age, actually, he streamed for 24 hours trying to get Gigo shells. You know how many he got? One.
One? Yeah, it's one.
The very
one more than
beginning. The very beginning.
So I did 5 hours right before the event ended, and I got 3 chocolate ghost shells, no crimson. I witnessed 2 crimsons drop, and I was like,
That's the one you want, too. You want the sparkly one.
I wanted the pink sparkly shell.
Yeah,
I want to pull it out
man?
and see it sparkle.
I think of the ones that I got, I really like the one that has I got a really good intellect discipline roll on one, which I thought
No
was,
way. You did? Really?
Yeah, it was.
I'm shocked.
Hold up, Pope. You getting a drop that was actually worth using? This is unprecedented. Can I get a time mark on here?
Next question.
Kyle Fawkes Williams at Kylos13. If it wasn't your job, would you still be logging into Destiny daily or even weekly at this point? I would. I was playing The Division today, and my stream was coming up at 2 p.m., and I was like really looking forward to jumping into the Crucible. So, yes.
I love this game, and half the time I play it, I'd say the majority of the time I play it, I'm not streaming, and I would play it for sure.
I said no. My reason being is while I would still have interest in the game, and I would definitely be coming back for, for actual big content patches, the very large gap of content and the amount of time that it took them to address kind of the low quality connections. If this wasn't my job and I had played for 2 weeks straight of really bad connection based matchmaking, I would say, okay, I'll come back when this is 100% fixed.
There are times that I think if it wasn't my job to play it, that I would enjoy it more. Because sometimes there have been points where I don't want to play, but I feel like I'm forced to for one reason or another. That in those times, I wish I didn't have to play, and that can burn you out. Like that kind of activity can burn you out when you are forced to play something that you don't want to. But for the most part, I really do. At the very end of House of Wolves, I was getting burnt out.
Yeah. I played just about every day, and playing other games gives me a balance, but I always find myself thinking about like the magic that is in Destiny, and that's the gunplay in the community that happens. And there's just nothing else like it. Like all it takes is just a couple days away and you'd be like, oh yeah, there's some real, even though the connections are garbage in the Crucible, like there's something really special that happens. So
It is. It's my favorite shooter right now. And
I'm going to take this moment before we start the next question to talk about the chat. The question was asked, what is Tefty's best quality? And the options were the beard, the sense of humor, or the way he shakes your fantasy? And right now, it's a dead tie
Oh
between
no.
the beard and the way he shakes your fantasy. So
I think the way he shakes your fantasy is definitely the best. The fantasies are shaking. They're shaking all night.
right, and I think you can tie in a lot of his qualities to that fantasy shaking. I mean, when I close my eyes at night, it's the voice, right? It's the voice, not the beard, that shakes my
Thanks,
fantasy.
Pope. Thanks. Appreciate
If you
it.
guys don't know what we're talking about,
Oh no.
next question.
No, come on, I want to hear it. Let's go.
Next
Let's
question.
hear it.
My wife and I did a music video 6-7 years ago, and we look like different people. We don't look like it's music, you know. You put on a whole show and
do
the
we
whole
have
thing.
a link to that video?
Don't do the link yet.
Can
Don't
I
do
put
the
it in
link
chat?
Yeah, fine. It's whatever.
All right,
People are gonna find it. So.
They'll find it. You can just pretty much Google "shake your fantasy."
Yeah.
But
So Vodka, go ahead and
Tefty-
put it in the. Go ahead and link the video, Vodka.
Tefty, I
If you want to know who started.
I need to thank you for that video. I was doing
You're welcome.
double carries in trials, and I was kind of having like kind of a rough time. We had just lost a card on the eighth match. Just feeling a little bad, but then I watched that video. I proceeded to lose the next match because for the first 3 rounds I was just laughing.
It may or may
so
not
hard.
be playing on the screen right now.
No, no, don't put it
wait,
on.
it's-
Pope, don't put it there. No,
wait,
seriously, don't
don't-
put it up there. It'll
Don't
cause some
do
copyright
it.
issues.
No.
There will be copyright issues.
Hope.
All right, I'm not.
No, Pope, there's copyright issues. Don't play it.
Yeah, there might be a copyright problem. Not that I control that.
All right, so I won't do it.
Oh
That's
my
definitely
God,
making
Pope.
its way into my streaming playlist.
Oh yeah,
When I'm
well,
streaming,
sure.
I got like a specific playlist that's getting in there.
Just
It is
Tefty,
gonna
when
be
you
a
show
given
up
thing.
with like the spiked gel hair and the Guido glasses, it slayed me. I had to pause it and I just laughed. It was magical. It was an experience.
A true story. That was shot on a red beta camera before it was officially released. Because my buddy was in TV production, and he approached us, or he was like, "Hey, I want to shoot a music video," and we're like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." He's like, "I got this really expensive camera that looks totally pro," and I was like, "Sweet." And then he had a buddy who's a kickboxing champion.
Oh,
And so that's how. So we got to like get into that. That's how that ring happened, and like there was actually kickboxing in there. And those lights are from IKEA. Real talk.
And those lights are from IKEA.
Real talk.
Yep. Real talk.
Real talk.
you pop up on the screen. I couldn't anymore. I'm remembering it right.
I mean,
now.
why can't I play it? All right.
No, just don't play it.
I got it. I
But
got
it's-
it.
Everybody in the chat is watching that video right
They're
now.
already
Oh
listening.
my
Nothing
God.
but
Podcast
extreme
anymore.
love
Oh
for
my
Tefty.
God.
Yeah, it's
Everybody's
it's
loving that
epic.
video.
They were different times,
Vodka,
guys.
You
Different
get
times.
you get the reward for best straw poll.
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
Stephen Kaplan at Cappy_31. Besides Patrick's God roll 1K stare, which weapon's armor still elude you? For me, it's a Jade Rabbit.
Really?
Anybody still looking for that one thing? I mean, aside from the 1K stare?
I'm always looking for a new sidearm. I'd like a rangefinder feeding frenzy quick draw sidearm. Yeah.
Pope?
I
Nope. Pope's got it all.
Shut up.
Okay,
I bet.
I'm gonna say there's one.
Yeah,
there is
what-
one
what do
thing
you
that
actually want,
There is
Bo?
one thing that I don't use rocket launchers at all, and I dislike them very much. But they're part of the PvP game mode, and if you're not using the Truth rocket launcher, there's not really a viable rocket launcher that I own. So if I'm needing to run a legendary rocket launcher, I don't have a good one. I don't know even what to look for, to be honest with you, but I am looking for a good legendary rocket launcher that I can use in PvP.
Honestly, the Trials of Osiris one's probably going to be your best bet.
I've got
with,
that one, and it just doesn't feel like it's...
I know.
The one-
Rocket
the
launchers don't
Suros-
feel that good
the
right
tracking?
now. One of the
The
biggest
Suros
things about
ones-
Truth is that it seems like the tracking really helps on that because
Yeah.
most the grenades and horseshoes doesn't proc like it used to. So a lot of times you see that rocket just sail over somebody's shoulder and you're like, why didn't that explode?
yeah, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the net code in the game, you know.
Well, they toned down the grenades and horseshoes a lot.
Yeah.
No, I've
they
hit
did.
somebody like within inches of their chest. It exploded and they didn't die,
Oh, really?
and it was like
That's
that's
frustrating.
clearly a net code problem. I was gonna say real quick, what I want is a Grasp of Malak. I haven't attempted farming it, but it's actually on my list of things that I would like to get a god roll for.
I've farmed for it and I've never seen it drop. I haven't even seen it drop for people in my group, so I just gave up. I'm not willing to do it.
I'd actually like a grasp too.
Jay Queege at Jay Queege. I hate it when engagements over before I can react. Should fights be slowed? So I think he's talking about the speed, like time to kills. Should they be slower than they are? I actually think that primaries should kill faster than they do.
Primaries outside of Mida and like last word should probably be sped up a little bit. That's a very short list, but there's some that don't. There's some that do. Whatever. Not gonna get specific. There's some that do need to be sped up just a hair. But like the current ones, I think time to kill overall feels solid right now.
I
in
disagree. I
PvP.
think it should be dropped for most primary weapons to like 0.8 seconds. I think right now most of them hang out at around 1 second, and I think that's why secondary weapons are so powerful. And I think if you drop down the time to kill like across the board for primaries, it would even out the playing board. Special weapons wouldn't be as powerful as they are, but you'd still have gun battles. Like 0.8 seconds isn't that big a difference from 1 second, that you'd still have those turn on you kills. You'd still be able to escape, but that 0.8 second would give you more of a chance to harass that sniper or kill that shotgun user as he's rushing toward you. And the last word, Thorn, Mida Multi-Tool wouldn't be such an outlier. You could leave those guns exactly where they are, bring all the other guns up to 0.8 seconds. I really think that would work.
Wait, okay. I think we're wanting the same thing. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're wanting the same thing.
You're coming at it from two different angles, though.
Yeah, I think we're wanting the same thing.
I will say-
Primary sped up, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Primary. Okay.
Time to kill lowered
Okay.
for primaries. Esteban at Derek Guitar 1. What are your thoughts on a Destiny prequel that took place during the Golden Age or the events leading up to present game? I'm going to jump on this one and say I don't want to see that as a full game. I wouldn't mind it as a set of missions or a subset of an expansion, but I wouldn't want to see it as like Destiny 2, we go back in time.
That sounds like a mobile app.
Make it part of the future. Make it part of like the future War Cult quest line has
That'd be
you
cool.
going back in time or something because they deal with all that crazy shit.
I would like that, but I don't think I would like to see it as like a full game.
Yeah.
Because it'd feel like we were regressing instead of moving forward in the plot.
Yeah.
Jake Queege stuck another one in here, but I like the question. Do any of the PD team use a NetDuma R1 router? Cheating or acceptable? You guys know about this NetDuma router? Okay, I'm going to explain it real quick for people who don't know about it. It's a router. It's got special software on it that allows you to restrict the geographic area that you're connecting to. It allows you to see the connections, like where the IP addresses that you are connecting to are located on a map. It gives you limited advantage, I would say, and I don't think it's cheating.
It's not. Limiting your
have
connections. Okay, you actually used it, right, Tefty?
Yeah, I have experience with it. So before the December update, it worked relatively well, and I would not say it was cheating because it prevented you from matching up with people with really high pings, which was awesome. Then December came out, and they changed the matchmaking, and then suddenly if you had enforced the restrictions, you would get kicked out of games way more frequently, and it wouldn't quite work as well. So after December, it got broke for that one feature where it would prevent matching up with people with high pings. I haven't tried it out just recently, but I do use the router just by the router itself is really great because you can tell I can tell my streaming computer to make sure it has this much upload capability, so if something starts downloading or uploading on another system, it won't choke my upload. Yeah,
quality
exactly.
of service. A lot of routers have that. Sometimes it's buried.
Yeah, that's
Gaming
true.
routers in particular will have that more in the forefront.
Yeah, it's very obvious. It's a very easy to use interface. So I haven't tried it recently on whether or not that actual filtering, that geo filtering, works with the current matchmaking as it is now. But back in December, it had completely broken. It was really sad, actually.
Yeah. If anything, it used to just kind of fix some of the more broken parts of the game. One of the things that I really like right now is the feature where you can tell where people are, like, so you get into a game, you can tell where everyone is located. Not like their house, but general geographical area. And it's really interesting to suddenly see, like, why am I joining a skirmish match and then I'm getting matched with people in Brazil? I'm solo queuing. How is this happening?
Brian at Hello Geek PSN. Could Holtz give us an update on how Just the Tip is going, or is it done?
I decided not to do it because it takes a lot of time.
How are you going to leave a name like that on the table?
I'm going to leave it on the table.
You talk about SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I know.
the tip? Oh,
I
yeah.
know. I'm leaving that one on the table. The reason being, for me to do that series the way I wanted to do, it took an entire day's worth of production to put an episode out.
Took a lot of roofies.
Yeah, exactly. And as much as I want to like get that individual help towards people, it's not feasible for me to do that as one person.
Right.
It just isn't. And I need to balance my time properly. So when I do trials carries, it's just that same level of intimate experience. I'm not able to say, hey, your gun skill's bad or something, because I'm not watching you play from your screen. But I can talk about things that really matter, like your movement, teaching you how to push properly. So I'm still doing the same thing that I would be doing there, just during trials carries when I do those on like Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays. So yeah, it's not dead. It's just, I don't know. It's different.
And of that same vein, people are asking for an update on your sub button.
I applied for it again. I've heard nothing back.
Benjamin Kerr at BH Kerr. I liked Leif's point about skill-based matchmaking. Mid-low tier players don't want to get matched up against top-tier players. Thoughts?
Yeah, I've had a few people talk to me about this. The main thing to take away is that it's not like just if they open up the connections, it doesn't mean that you're going to constantly go up against high skill players. It just means that the chance of it happening is higher. It also helps give you a chance to experience what it's like to get owned, which you could take that advantage and take that experience and make it into an advantage of being like, okay, that person flanked me so hard. I was like, instead of getting salty over it, I can just be like, understand why that happened. Now, if it happens all the time, then there's a problem in their matchmaking. But it shouldn't be a thing where every time you go in the Crucible, you're constantly going against high skilled players.
The main thing to take away is that it gets very tiring to play against people that are of your skill level, especially when you're on like some of the higher skill levels, and those people, because they not take the game seriously, but they want to do really well, so they use loadouts that are more close to tier 1 loadouts. So you're seeing a lot of Last Word, Doctrine of Passing, Mida, Thorn, and like just seeing the really strong loadouts and people that know how to use those loadouts properly. That gets tiring to play against all the time.
Pasta Beans at Pasta Beans. The Bungie web experience is improving. I'd love to dismantle and infuse there to maximize playtime when online. Good idea?
Yeah, if they can figure it out, sure.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. As long as they can keep my account secure so nobody can do it for me.
Well, maybe like a nice balance of what they could do is have a checkmark system where you log in the game, you can select all the blues and then be like dismantle, one button. That'd be really nice. So you don't have to just hold square or X on every single thing.
One of the things that impresses me with the Division is how much of that they have streamlined. Like if you want to take all the mods off of a gun, you can press one button to do it, like stuff like that.
Just really marking all your gear as junk and then deleting all, or dismantling all the junk.
Or selling it all in one go.
Destiny, please. It would make 2 blues so much easier.
Hey, who's been in this situation?
Blues.
You're running back and forth between the Cryptarch and the Postmaster because you only have one slot open for special items.
Oh,
And you got like
Jesus.
6 blues in the
Yeah,
in the
back and
Postmaster. You
forth,
just
back and forth.
That
run
is
back
like-
and forth to Crypt. Go back at another one.
That
to
is
Crypt.
nearly every stream for me.
Oh my God.
Nearly every single stream in
Absolutely.
every single slot.
Andy at ArloCon. Would a big team battle playlist be a welcome addition to Destiny 2? Yes.
Yes.
All right. Good answer.
I would love to play First Light, Bastion, Skyshock with 9v9 or 12v12. That would be fun. We should power through.
Power
Do it.
through.
Go
You want
ahead.
to do like a rapid fire of like
Let's
5
go rapid
questions?
fire. Let's go.
Let's knock
All
it
right.
out.
Justin Gomillion at Gunners Fan. What are the chances that we get new Strike Pacific loot with potential updated new strikes in the spring update?
Hi.
High possibility.
Yeah, I would say
in my
like
opinion.
99%.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Okay.
really? You think for sure? Wow, okay.
Onyx,
I'm thinking 50-50. Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
Onyx M Dragon at Onyx Arlen. Which was better to year 1 trials or year 2 trials?
Year 2 trials
trials.
doesn't have Thorn.
Year 2
Year
trials.
2 trials doesn't have Thorn. so
Absolutely, year 2
okay.
trials.
I think
Sports
year 2
families-
trials in the first month. Not right now.
Sports Family 77. When did the crew members get into video games? What games and systems? This is not a rapid fire question.
We've got
Make it happen,
Atari.
guys. Make it happen.
Atari.
What
Yeah,
was it?
first game and system go.
Atari.
NES.
What was the first game?
Mac 2E.
My first game was on the Mac. It was Apple IIe, and it was Zork.
Yeah.
I had a Nintendo NES, and it was Super Mario Brothers.
Jacob Dowell, assuming there's no new raid in the spring update, what would you guys think of taking themed weapons for new challenges? We already have taken themed weapons.
Yeah, sure. Make them more taken. Make them more blacker with more
blacker.
crazy, more blacker.
More black.
Andrew Ferrara at Fox in a Wolfpack. How much do you think item level is going to go up with the spring DLC?
20.
30.
40.
69.
69.
No, that's not how you do it. You have to bid one of us by.
Yes,
you have to
come
bid
on,
one of us
Ted.
down by
You're
one.
the last to vote.
420,
Price is
69.
right rules.
Drag
Bid
Scoper.
51.
Drag Scoper, YOLO, Swagga, Swagga.
Masterclass, if you could add one feature alone into the game, what would it be?
Wait, what was that? Quick.
If you could
one more
add
time.
one feature into the game, what would it be?
Better net code.
Custom games.
Forge mode for PvE.
GE at Gabriel Inaki. Do you think shader drops in Trials of Osiris are bugged? They seem to be the most rare things to drop in the game.
I'll be quiet.
I
on this.
wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it with the way drops are in this game right now. With how much PvP drop rates just straight up suck. Yeah, sure. They're probably bugged.
I think-
I wish I got materials for them. Every time I dismantle them, I get nothing.
Oh man, I want to give you the middle finger right now so bad.
I think the loot table might genuinely be bugged in Destiny.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna stop commenting on loot then, because it's like, but you know, I get them all the time. They just
How
drop.
can one guy get all the loot drops?
I don't know. There's other people that are commiserating. I'm finding other people like me on my Twitter account that are like, dude.
Do you have a
Yeah.
so
support
happy.
group?
Yeah,
for
we have a
people with
support
awesome
group.
RNG?
We have a support group for the RNG like blessed, I guess.
We'll never let anybody know
Wow.
where it meets because you'll definitely get bombed.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
so we meet regularly on my Twitter page, and he goes, yeah, people will come in and go, Pope, I feel the rage that people are giving you. I get all the stuff. My raid team thinks, they don't want to play with me anymore because they think I steal their loot.
I play with a guy. He's literally Irish, and he literally has stolen all my loot for the last year.
Oh,
and a
look
half.
at the Irish. Wow.
All right,
incredible.
next.
Rodrigo Nava at Yuri691. Who is the voice of the very first Planet Destiny video? And hello from Mexico.
He's the guy that in the very first Planet Destiny video, the how I think it's the where we are now video. I think the person's no longer working for us. Like they basically did one video, and it was that video, and that was it.
Don't know who
I
it is.
almost worded that as he's no longer with us, like he's dead. But
doesn't work.
No, it's like he's just
Yeah.
Patrick
the one
killed
video.
him
There we go.
and took his body. Last question. From Recon Skillet, at Recon Skillet, spelled with multiple numbers in there. Can you give a speech in preparation against the Crucible Radio? In fact, I might have prepared something.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, let's hear it.
Tonight, another group of podcasters from Crucible Radio has come to fight us. A podcast that focuses not on Destiny as a whole, but only on killing the other Guardians for their own honor. In front of me, I see the members of the Planet Destiny podcast, a podcast devoted to truth and justice and distributing commentary and information for all those who enjoy the bounties of the universe. So I ask you, fellow members of the Planet Destiny podcast team, will you fight? Will you, to your last breath, defend those players, the Slayers of Oryx, the men of the Nightfall, who have no use for thorns in Crucible combat? Will you fight for them? I fight, and you may die. Run, and you'll live, at least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day forth for that one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell your enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
And my axe.
Is Sparta!
Swear to God, that whole thing was original.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
I was half expecting you to start reciting the speech from Independence Day.
That would have been another good
Fantastic.
episode.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
Briar, you are amazing. Thank you. You've inspired me to do great things.
I'm
Go
inspired.
kick some ass tonight.
Yeah,
guys.
so
We got this. We got
We've got a lot
this.
of Jimmy rustling going on right now because I can count. And we got a fresh sub, big old nuts.
Big ol'
Planet
nuts.
Destiny.
God, that's the
Yes.
best one so far, man.
Big old nuts.
I'm happy to call Big Ol' Nuts a subscriber.
Yes.
It was
That
a speech
warms
prior.
the cockles of my heart.
Oh my God.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. We're not going to do our normal sign-offs because Briar already fucking killed it. So